Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Omnifactory. I've been playing quite a bit in between episodes. Last time we got our assembly line set up over there. And the first thing I done was upgrade our alloy smelters to IV tier. So we have now 16 alloy smelters in here that are IV. And I also had to upgrade the CEF to LUV. And I've got 2 LUV energy input hatches here. So now this is running actually at ZPM. I've also went ahead and set up automation for these package crafters. So we have the ultimate, the elite, and the, what is this, advanced. So this quest here before the microminer requires one of each of the tables. The packaged X crafting version of these tables makes it so easy to automate. You basically just have to surround the unpackager with these tables, and it'll automatically put all the items in the correct place. Once it's done crafting as well, it ejects the finished item back into the unpackager. And the unpackager sends it back into the ME network. You don't have to mess around with inserts or filters or anything like that. Basically I have a packager for each table, or each table type, and then we have like a recipe holder in each one. So anytime we want to add a new recipe, we just come over to the recipe encoder, and then we can load it up, and you select the table type. So here we're doing elite crafts. So this is like, for example, for the tier 4 microminer. You just import the recipe from JEI, hit save, and then put one package in the packager and one in the unpackager, and it does the rest for you. It's really that easy. So I cleaned up the manual crafting that we're doing over there, and I put in things like crystal tin. All the microminers are now fully automated here, and also the laser that goes into the microminer is also fully automated. And with that, I've also made 16 of these tier 3 microminers, so let's send those as well. I want to send this for more ruby, for more chrome. It'll also get us more emeralds for the crystal chips as well. So tier 3 exquisite, let's send 16 of these. Everything should be automatic now. When we hit this button, we don't have to do any more manual steps, which is nice. And it's all quite quick as well. Another thing that's changed is I've upgraded DML slightly. So I haven't added any more simulation chambers. However, I did add a loot fabricator for shulker shells, which we're going to be using today. And I've also added Enderman heads and Impossible Realm data to these two on the end here. So yeah, as I mentioned last time, we're going to be making the tier 5 microminer to begin with. And actually, if we just request the tier 5, I've already put it in the packaged crafting table. If we just request one of these, it'll tell us what we're missing, and then we can tackle those one by one. So prescient crystals and supercharged laser arrays. Let's start with the laser arrays, since I think these are a bit easier. All we need to do is add a chemical reactor with some radon. And we have these automated, well, we have these on demand, so this is going to be simple. So we'll put down our chemical reactor on the EV line with an interface on top. And we'll have a fluid interface to supply the radon. And a pump to insert. And then just simply put the recipe in the interface above and set auto output. And now we should be able to request these supercharged laser arrays. This will process and then automatically get put in our ME system. And done. And that just leaves one last step for the tier 5 microminer, which is this prescient crystal. So for this we need a soul binder. I've already made one of these. It's quite simple, just in the advanced crafting table. Just some solarium, tungsten steel plating, various mob heads, and a soul machine chassis, which is the industrial. We have this already in our alloy smelter automation. And then soul powder is just crushed solarium. So this is quite an easy machine to make. But we have to automate this now to make these prescient crystals. So for that we need shulker soul vials. And this is why we need the shulker shells from the loot fabricator I added. And then it's just a soul vial with fused quartz and solarium. And then we can just import a recipe in here. And we'll get a spare interface for this as well. And there's a quest for it. And I think we'll just put it over here next to the other RF machines. I think here's fine. Oh, actually, I just realised we're gonna have to get EXP for this as well, because this not only takes RF but also costs EXP. So how are we gonna do that? I think we can get it from matter. So we can fluid extractor extraterrestrial matter for liquid XP. And then can we just directly insert this liquid XP? I'm actually not sure about that. I also spotted this experience solidifier. I'm assuming this only does liquid to solid, which probably isn't helpful in this case. Let's just try and set up the fluid extractor first, and then we'll deal with how we get it into the soul vial. I guess we can also do this at EV tier as well. So we'll have our fluid extractor with a interface above it, and then item conduit to supply extraterrestrial matter. We'll set the filter on the insert as well. So this gives us liquid XP, and then we can just buffer this into a drum with a fluid storage bus, and that's liquid XP taken care of. Now we just have to figure out what the best way is to get it into the soul binder. I'm hoping we can just pipe it straight in with conduit. So I've put down our fluid interface. If we set this to pull, I'm hoping this works. Okay, nothing happened yet, but let's try and order the recipe. It might need to wait until this has items in. I don't remember exactly how the soul binder works. Oh yeah, look at that, it works. So we can, once we request these crystals, it puts the items from the interface in here. Oh no, yeah, we have to set the push on this. Yeah, well, we'll have to set it to push pull. And I'll probably get a better capacitor. This is just one I found in the Lost Cities way back at the start of the game. Let's see if I have a better one actually. That one seems to have sped it up, but I think the bottleneck now is the EXP insertion. So let's try to add a ender fluid conduit, see if that speeds it up. Oh yeah, that's plenty fast now. Alright, well that was easier than I thought. That's done. Let's try and get our micro miner now. So if we can request this tier 5 now. Looks like we can. Let's hit start and see if it works. But yeah, it looks like it's working without any issue. And in fact, I should have checked this before, but this is definitely medium microverse, yeah. I was wondering if this takes the large microverse projector, like the next tier up from this, but no, this is still medium. This is IV tier though, so we're gonna have to upgrade the energy inputs on this, because I think this is only EV. I could be wrong though. Oh no, we're at IV, we're okay. I've also set up the logic to clear the craft, just like we did for the other tier of microminers. So that when we launch the X-Stone tile from here, this will send the rocket automatically and clear the craft. And the recipe I've put in is for this Naquadah dust. This Naquadah is going to be used quite heavily in the next steps. It's going to give us Naquadah, which is used in both the Naquadah dope bulls and also Naquadah alloy, which is mixing osmiridium with Naquadah. And I think there's also a enriched something or other, or Naquadah or something like that. There's another version of this that's used, I know. So we're going to need quite a bit of this. Anyway, I think our craft also finished for the tier 5, so that will give us the quest as well. And yeah, let's just send the wait a second, stabilized plutonium. Didn't I set this up? Oh, I never actually added it to this drawer. So now it should work if we request this. Yeah. And our microverse projector should run, which it is. So once that finishes, we have to actually process this Naquadah. And I haven't checked what's the blast furnace temperature on this. 5400. So it's going to have to be HSSG or higher. Alright then, let's add another HSSG coil blast furnace. And it's all set up. So now we have to just set the inserts here for the items, and our microminer looks like it's finished. Let's put in Naquadah in here, and it should start already. That's also a quest. Yep, and this is also running. So let's set our... Wait, we need the ingot first. There's the ingots coming through. We'll set our storage monitor. There's the quest as well. And the level emitter. And yeah, that also gives us the quests. Let's check the quest book now for what the next step's going to be. Let's claim all this just so that we can get some flashing away. So it looks like we need Naquadah coil blocks. I'm assuming that's to cook draconium ingots. Naquadah wires or ZPM machines. Okay then, while the Naquadah's building up for the coils, let's see how we can unlock draconium. So for draconium, I think we have to get it from Dragon's Breath and Manulin, both of which we haven't made yet. The Dragon's Breath we can get from either Nitrodiesel and Blazing Pyrotheum, or from Deep Mob Learning. I already have pristine dragon matter, so... In fact, how much of that do I have? Oh yeah, we're already up to 9,000, so let's just add a loot fabricator for that first of all. And I guess we start a new row. Oh, we got a space on the end here. This will do. So we'll filter the insert for pristine ender dragon, and we'll add our storage monitor and level emitter. And then we'll configure the loot fab for Dragon's Breath. And in fact, I'm going to add a drawer for this as well. And we'll set the storage monitor. And I've set the level limiter as well, so now this should be getting exported into this drawer. Yep. So that's that taken care of. What is the next step for manualing again? So Draconium, yeah, manualing, which has to be cobalt dust, ardite, and mana infused dust. Or mana dust. I think we are already making all of these components, so actually let's just double check. Ardite, yeah, we have that on auto, on passive I mean. Cobalt, we have 8,000, and I think we can get this from microminers, so I'm not worried about that. Mana dust we have lots of as well, so yeah, we just need to add a mixer, and I guess we'll add it next to these other dusts. I guess we'll just put it down at the front of the line here, since I don't suspect we'll have to add another blast furnace. But I think here is fine actually. And then we'll add our inputs to our interface, and then a limited item filler on the mixer with the same inputs. And this is making our manualing, and we'll set our drawer. Alright, so that's manualing taken care of, that's on passive now. And then what was it we done with the manualing? We have to blast furnace this with Nitrodiesel. Actually, I didn't notice this recipe before. We can also use dragon scales for this. I wonder if that's better. Let's see. 1.2 million EU compared to 2.4 million. And 500 seconds compared to 1,000. Although I guess you get double the recipe, so it is pretty much the same. It just depends which one you want to input. And this we also get from the Ender Dragon. The dragon scales, that is. I wonder if this is a better recipe to use. I think actually we are going to switch and use this dragon scale recipe. This draconium dust I don't think is going to go to waste. There's other uses for it. But I won't bother setting that up just yet. Let's switch these in the dragon scales, so I'll switch up the loot fabricators over there. Okay, I just added another loot fabricator here for dragon scales, so that's now fixed. I just kept the one for the dragon's breath since I'm sure we'll need it later anyway. And I just lowered the threshold for the extract on that. So the next step to making draconium is this Nitrodiesel. And this we can either combine biodiesel and tetranitromethane, or regular diesel and tetranitromethane. And since we have so much regular diesel, actually let's check how much we have. It should be in one of these tanks here somewhere. Yeah, here. We have almost a full quantum tank of diesel, which is a bit crazy because I'm basically mixing all of the light and heavy fuel I'm getting, and that's been building up since we set this system up. So 57,000 buckets, I think we're going to be okay for diesel. The thing we have to get though is Nitrodiesel, or sorry, tetranitromethane, and for this we have to mix nitric acid, ethanone and acetic acid. And this looks like it's a bit of a rabbit hole, so I need to figure out what the best way to get this is, because I don't think we're making any of these liquids. The nitric acid, the ethanone or the acetic acid. So let me figure out what the best way to do this is. Okay, so I have the first step figured out here. Ignore this fluid extractor, this is for the liquid XP. So the first step, I've got oxygen and nitrogen with circuit 1, and this gives us nitrogen dioxide. And then I'm importing oxygen and more nitrogen, or sorry no, oxygen and water, which is being supplied by an aqueous accumulator here. And this gives us our nitric acid. I realised there was a quest that we skipped up here in the mid-game section, which gives you tetranitromethane. So that's nitric acid sorted. Let's actually get a bucket for the quest. Any minute now. There we are. Next one is acetic acid. And now we're making acetic acid by combining hydrogen, oxygen and carbon dust. Just going to buffer that into a tank once again. And let's get the bucket for the quest as well actually. Another quest. There we are. And the next step is to make our ethanone, which I've got combining sulfuric acid coming from this ME interface. We're making this elsewhere. And acetic acid, which I'm just pulling in with a pump on this side of the chemical reactor from this buffer. This gives us ethanone and also diluted sulfuric acid, which I am undiluting here. So then the last step is to combine all three of those ingredients in this last chemical reactor. I just have to set the filters for that just now. Let's first get a bucket though for the quest. There it is. Okay, I got them all filtered. This is going to give us tetranitromethane, so we can get the quest for this as well. Oh, it also gives us acetic acid. Alright, and I just have them both into buffers with their own fluid storage buses. And so that's tetranitromethane taken care of. I guess the last step is Nitrodiesel, which is just combining the two of those. So we need a mixer for that, not a chemical reactor. And I only have the HV1. We'll need to get an EV one for this. Alright, there's our EV mixer. I think I'm just going to pump directly from this tank. So we'll set this to import, and this will give us the tetranitromethane. And then we just have to get diesel in here as well. So we'll filter this one for diesel. And we'll have to add diesel to this fluid interface here. And done, we're now making Nitrodiesel. Let's get a bucket for this quest. Oh, that also gives us 100 Omni dollars as well. I can't believe I skipped this for so long. I guess it kind of wants us to make power with this, but we just never did. Using the diesel generators. Well, we're now going to make this into Draconium. So let's get a blast furnace set up for this. So in order to smelt our Draconium, we're going to need the Naquadah coil blocks in order to reach the correct temperature. So we'll have to input those recipes. So the coils are processing in the assembler with configuration 8. We'll need those, and we'll also need the 2x wire. And the 1x wire in the wire mill. We'll do this 64 at a time. Last space in the wire mill. And then these two are just processing recipes. So can we request, was it 16 for a basic blast furnace? Yep. I'm curious how many blast furnaces we've got by now. I mean, look at the rows of blast furnaces. Probably some of these are unnecessary, like having this many, because a lot of them aren't running all the time. But I mean, they're cheap, so you might as well make them one per thing, and it means you don't have to worry about these ingots ever again. Like, we just have aluminum constantly being produced. Let's just set it up next to this one, and I'll go ahead and set this blast furnace up again. You've seen this like a million times by now. And we're done. I just have to set the extract on this, on brown. This should put the dragon scales in. I've got the Nitrodiesel filtered here. And are we cooking? No, it's not, because it's paused by this. Now you should be running. Okay. I'm running this at IV as well. I guess technically we could overclock this to LUV. In fact, let's just do that. Let's just get an LUV energy input. One of these. We'll wait till this finishes though. Okay, let's swap out this energy input hatch to LUV. LUV, nice. And then we'll enable the inputs again. And actually, I just realised while I was waiting on that thing, we're going to get hot draconium ingots. And I just assumed that we can just use our existing vacuum freezer recipe. But this is going to require cryothium. And I think the best way to handle this is just to have its own vacuum freezer. Since this is quite a long recipe, this will backlog our other one. And plus we have to deal with cryothium. So I think we're going to have to make another vacuum freezer just for draconium. So the question is, where do we want to put this vacuum freezer? I guess I might actually just put it right behind it, and that means we can expand this blast furnace and share walls with these coils. I think that's probably the best idea for now. Let's also fix this hole. I don't know why that's there. Yeah, let's make another blast furnace here for our draconium. Before we do that though, we can get two very easy quests. Let's get the draconium dust and Naquadah wires. Actually, maybe not. This is the chemical reactor one we haven't set up yet. Let's just leave that for now. There's the wires though. Okay, I got the freezer all set up here, and I've set it up with the same logic we set up on our other freezer. And I realised that we have to set this as a higher priority, so I have this on like 10,000. The other one is on 6,000, because I noticed some hot draconium was getting placed in here, and we obviously don't want that, because that will jam this. In fact, it's still getting clogged up here. I think this was from before though, I didn't. So we'll have to take these ingots out. And now that this is hooked up, it should have ended up in this vacuum freezer. Oh, okay, I have to set the filter for this as well. Hold on. Stop, stop. Oh, we've got a mess. You know what, instead of messing with filters here, we can actually just put a lock to drawer. Yeah, that's much easier. Ow. Ow. Get rid of all this. Yeah, if we just put a drawer here that's locked to hot draconium. And wait, this isn't... Yeah, this is not plugged in yet. Oh, that's all gonna go back in this one, isn't it? Oh man, we've got a mess on our hands here. How am I gonna do this? You think I can make it over there without dying? Let's try it. Ow! Ow! Stop! Okay, let's heal, let's heal. Okay, we have to run in there, lock the drawer, and then quickly place in the Draconium. And then hook it up back up to our system. Let's do it. Alright, so does this now get automatically inserted in here? I wonder. Yes, it does. It was just blocked by some diamonds, but yeah. So now I have to empty this one more time of hot Draconium. And I suspect it's also in this one as well. Yep. And we'll have to hook this back up before we put any more in. So that this takes priority for the hot Draconium. And then one last time we have to take all this out. And no more should be in here? Yeah. Let's just check this input bus. Now you're processing? Okay. And it all should have ended up in this drawer. Which it did. Okay, let's get our health back and then process this Draconium. So I've got a fluid interface here. We're going to need cryothium like I mentioned. However, there is one thing about cryothium, and that is we're obviously using that to fuel our reactor. Or cool our reactor, I mean. So I'm not sure if our production of cryothium exceeds this that much. Do we really want to risk this? I mean, I guess we could set it up and keep an eye on the levels. And then if we have to add more, we'll just do that. Let's just chance it. I'm in a risky mood today. Let's chance it and let's add cryothium to this input bus. Like that. And then this should be filling up, which it is. And this is running. And then all the outputs should go to this output bus I've got down here. And that's just hooked up to the interface. So we should see Draconium now fill our system. This should be a quest. Oh no, because it wants the dust, doesn't it? Yeah, we might need to make the dust. Okay, we'll set that up as well. Let's first just set our storage monitor and level emitter though. And we'll also record the amount of thermal matter that we're at for cryothium, because I don't want to deplete this too much and have a reactor meltdown. That is the last thing I want. So let's get some signs and write down what we're currently at, and then we'll check back in maybe like an hour or two. So we're currently at 27,187 thermal matter. There, so I put a sign here just to remind us. And our fluid extractor should be enough for both of them. Actually, how much does one cryothium dust give per? 250? We might have to add another fluid extractor then. I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye on this anyway. Let's now set up a chemical reactor for this Draconium dust, since we now have both the Dragon's Breath and the Manulan anyway. And this is going to get used later down the line for Draconic fusion for this Draconium infused obsidian. At least I think it is anyway. Maybe not. Do we even need this? This dust, I mean. It doesn't even look like we do. I mean, it's not hard to set it up. Let's just do it anyway and get the quest. Alright, I've set up a chemical reactor with Dragon's Breath and Manulan for Draconium dust. This should give us the quest. In fact, both of the quests. We'll also set the drawer. There's the ingots as well. Yeah, so just make sure you have the robot arm on here to supply exact, or keep exact. I don't actually think it matters in this case, but we don't want both slots filling with one item or the other. And then I've just downgraded this to just a stack, just to keep buffered. Alright, so to finish off today, I've recently updated the pack this morning, and this update to the dev version changed a bunch of recipes, so I've just been going updating things. Last night I set up this tetranitromethane for the Nitrodiesel. This recipe got changed, so instead of requiring acetic acid in here, it just requires the nitric acid and ethanol now, but it also gives us a water and carbon dust byproduct. So I've just put a trash for the water, and I'm putting the carbon into our ME interface. There's a few other changes that I've changed up as well. I think the phosphoric acid recipe got changed, but that doesn't affect us. There's a cool new red alloy change as well. So this red alloy in the blast furnace now no longer uses molten redstone. It just uses regular redstone, and it's also a 1-to-1. It's also been changed to equal parts copper and redstone, and it now no longer matters if you use annealed copper or not. So this red alloy has gotten a lot cheaper, and so I've changed our blast furnace for 2 input buses instead of the fluid input. And then I think yttrium, barium, cuprate got a change as well. So before we were making it in this auto crafter with the 3 dusts. I don't think we can do that anymore. It has to now be a mixer, and we have to add oxygen. So let me modify this so that this works. Okay, I've added in our mixer and gave it oxygen. This actually, the barite dust electrolysis method also gives oxygen. So instead of just trashing all of that, I've prioritized the insertion into this mixer for oxygen, and then just added a backup fluid interface to top it up. And then, yeah, this requires 2 barium dust, and I think this is the very last one we have in our system. So it's not going to run yet, and we don't have any more barite to turn into barium. But this is the correct recipe, so it's barium, copper, and yttrium. And oxygen. Yeah, so this should work, and it's HV at least. Yeah, it's ULV recipe, so this will be fixed once we have more of the dust. Apart from that, I don't think anything else changed. If it did, I'll soon find out about it when we run out of something. There was a couple more changes to things like acetone, but it's like using different recipes. And this recipe here for phenol is also new, so we can also we can now use oxygen and benzene for phenol, which is quite an interesting route actually. It does require EV tier though, so it's not really useful early game. There's also been a new recipe for ethylene added, which is useful early game. You can combine glycerol with carbon dioxide. I mean, I guess it's a HV recipe, but this one here is new for ethylene, so that's another way to go about getting ethylene rather than having to do the sulfuric acid way. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on to see if anything else breaks, but I don't think anything else is broken in terms of recipe changes. I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. Oh, and it changed my theme on the quest book as well. I forgot what that happens when you update. Yeah, so next time I think we're going to get into Enderium. Perhaps the next microminer, the tier 6. We'll see. Maybe superconducting wire, that could be pretty cool as well. Anyways, with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for some more Omnifactory.